Hi everyone, welcome back. Yesterday we have seen about how we can integrate this framework with the external reports. It was all working fine. Even the parallel execution is working fine. Now our framework is almost ready, right? It got all the features so that we can go ahead and start creating more tests, right? Anyone can go ahead. They can create a new test here, or they can go to another class. They can create another class inside this com.tmb.test, and then they can start and build more functionalities. But when you notice, hey, Amudan, once you told, hey, whatever we have in the base test should be reasonable and related to the test cases. But this one is not really a test case, right? Even though you can keep it here, there is no problem. It will still work. But we have something called as listeners, which we have already learned, right? So even when there is a failure, now, it won't automatically log into the reports, right? In the external reports, we want that to be logged into the reports. Okay, but for now, if it is failed in test.ng, it will show us a fail, but in external report, it will not mark it as a fail, right? Because we haven't done anything, right? We haven't used any loggers to log it in the report. For example, if we go here and I change the expected title to 1 to 3, okay, and then I try to run it. I'm entering the username password. Now it should fail. And you notice the test.ng is showing the expected failure, but let's go to the report and check. Okay, it is still showing pass because we haven't told external reports to mark it as a failure, right? So that's the problem now. So we have to do that. So how can we do that? Either you can also write in the after method itself. Let's say, let's remove, let's go to the base test. And here you can, inject using java.lang.reflect, and then you can do the comparison here. But it's not a good approach. Let's move this whole thing to listener. Okay, let's minimize this. Let's create a new package called as listeners. And inside listeners, we want to add class that's called as, say, test listener. Okay. And that implements, right, I test listener. Okay. Okay. So this I test listener is coming from test.ng, but it is not able to find this package because we might have the scope defined here. Okay. So here, if you notice, the scope is defined inside the test. Scope is test, which means we have restricted that this particular Maven dependency should be used within the src test folder. It should not be used anywhere here. But for now, we want to just define the listeners. So it's not good if I can define the listeners here. So I'm just removing the scope. That is enough. Now if I go there, I will just reload the Maven, and then I'll go there, and now it is telling import class. Just import the class. Since 7.0 version, it is not the methods here are all default methods. So you have to go and copy them, whatever you want and whatever you don't want. Let's say on test start, on test success, on test failure is something that I need. Okay, let's copy this, and let's go to the test listener class. Let's put it here. And then we also need two more. Let's go there, and because these are all default methods. Okay, and yeah, we can go here. Now it's telling, hey, on extension method can only be used within an interface, may constant not default, right? So we are trying to override this, so we should remove it. And you can add at the rate override on top of it. Now it's telling public, right? So let's copy this and then keep it public. I mean, it is optional to add override on top of it. Java knows or add it by itself. Okay, it's if you want to let people know when they are reading, okay, we are taking these methods from another parent interface, then you can add it on top of it. But if you are good enough to understand just by seeing implement site test listener, then it's okay. It's optional to add this annotation on top of it. Okay. So, but for now we are learning, so we are beginners, so we'll keep it here. Okay. Good. Now on start is like your before suite, right? Let's go and copy it. So whatever the call that we are making from here, let's cut it, and then let's go to the listener and then paste it here. Same way we have external report dot flush reports, right? So this is for your after suite. Let's go and remove. So we have no use so far in this, so I have removed this. Now we have only empty blocks, so you can remove this. If you remove this, you don't need that import statement. Alt and D, Alt and D, right? Now before method we are creating like this. Instead of that, we can create it inside. Let's go to the test listener, and on test start I want to do this, right? And here this result dot get. Okay. And also we have on test success. Whenever a test is getting passed, I need to just mark report that sorry, extend logger, right? So extend logger dot pass result dot get name. Okay, will give me the test case name plus is passed. Okay, I just want to make it pass, right? When it is failed, I need to tell it is a fail. Okay, whenever a test is getting failed, this method will be automatically invoked. That is the power of listeners. It will be automatically invoked. Okay, and I have to tell fail and result dot get name dot is failed. Okay, whenever we are marking something as a failure, it will automatically take the screenshot. Right? So that's all. That's enough for us. Okay, we have written whatever we want to write, and now let's go here. Let's remove this unnecessary stuff. We don't need that anymore. Okay, the reason why we have kept this here is because I could have moved this to that place, but this is more related to my test. Okay, reporting is something that is extra, right? But this is related to my test, so I keep it in the before method and after method. Okay, now all good. I need to tell that I have added a new test listener. Okay, where should I tell? I go to the index.html, sorry, pom.xml, sorry, testng.xml, and then I need to tell I have added a new listener, right? Go here, and then you can tell listeners, and listener class name equal to, we have com dot tmb dot listeners dot test listener, and then it will ask you to collapse the empty tag. You do that. Now we have told that we will be using this listener. From here onwards, you have to only run the test from the testng.xml. Okay, let's try to run it and check what's happening. All we did is we just moved the code from the base test to the listener, just because we thought this is the right place to keep it, because this reporting is a different part. Okay, it's not related to anything to test. Okay, so both the tests are running, and both of them, it seems, getting fast, right? I think one will be failed because there is an assertion failure. We have voluntarily made it to fail. Let's see the reports whether this is getting logged or not. So if you notice, now this is telling it is failed. Title validation test is failed. Okay, so this is how we can basically mark a test as a fail in this. And even if you go here, one test got passed, one test got failed, and what is the time took for this test? For example, the test 2 took 3.196 seconds, test 1 took 6.495 seconds. Okay, so yeah, even the timing is there in the timeline. Yeah, so, and also if you notice one thing, that Hereafter, when you try to run your test from here, it won't work. You cannot run it from here because we have defined the listeners in the test.xml. This listener is defined only in the test.xml. So your starting point has to be test.xml. If you try to run a single test, it won't work out. Okay, if you try to run from here, it won't work out. It will throw null pointer exception when you are trying to log something. Okay, so if you notice, I think some of them is failed, right? It has thrown null pointer exception when you are trying to log something in the 11th line. Okay, you're trying to log something, but this is only get defined if you have listeners. Okay, in the listeners only we are creating test, we are doing initialize reports, flushing reports, everything we are doing here only. So your starting point has to be test.xml. But if you don't want to do this, then keep it in the before suite and after suite itself. You can keep the before suite and after suite, and you can write some logic here in the after method to take to log this failure or for the screenshots. Okay, that's up to you. Yeah, right? But for me, I'll keep writing like this because I'll have my starting point in the index.html always. Okay, good. Any doubts so far? Sorry, any doubts so far? Sorry, I couldn't hear you well.
Yeah, no, Muthan.
Okay, good. So now this is all good, right? So same way, if you go to the home page test, let's say I want to mention who is the author of this test, okay, into the report. Okay, then what I should do? Extend manage extend the dot get extend test. Okay, because I cannot get the extend test. Okay, so if I have to get the extend test again, I need to go and change the extend manager to, let's, for some time I will keep it as a public. Okay, just for some time. Okay, I will explain. Okay, I go here and then I'll come extend manager dot get extend test dot uh, okay, not this one. Here I need to log something, set author. Okay, I think that is available. Just a minute. I'll make this one. Good one. Let's go to extend report, and I need this extend. Okay, if I need this extend, let's say extend dot create something, and then you do dot set author. Okay, create author. What is this author? Mhm. Okay, let's go. Just a minute, please. So once I get extend test, I need to call get method. Okay, so that's all fine. Now let's make it as a public again. Sorry guys, I got little confused. Let's go here and type extend manager dot get extend test dot assign author. Okay, so the name is assign author. I was searching for create author, that's why it's not working. So you want to assign an author, and the name who created this is somewhere. Okay, and assign category. The category is, let's say this is smoke test. In it is also important test case, so we also need to do in smoke test as well as regression. We need to do it. Regression, something like this. Okay, whatever. Then if I try to run this test, okay, what happens? Then this will be marked as a created by Amudan and then smoke and regression. Let's see what's happening. Okay, let's try to run it and then check. So every time I need to use test.xml to run it. Now the tests are getting passed. Okay, one of them got failed because we have made it to fail. But let's go and check the index.html. And this time, if you notice, there is a regression test case that is one that is also failed. Amudan test. Amudan has created one test and that is failed. Okay, why this is assign author? Okay, I should have used assign category here. Assign category. Okay, okay. Then this category will be there will be two categories here: smoke and regression. And maybe why this is not? Yeah, this is now more readable. Okay, so there is one smoke test and one of them got failed. Okay, so yeah, basically you can get these details. Okay, you can go to the author and you can see Amudan have created one test and one of them got failed and what is the test. Okay, all these details can be logged. This is good, but the problem is, this is again spoiling my code. My test case should be very clean. So how can I avoid this writing this line here explicitly? Because if I have to do this, I have to do this as a first statement in all the mm, all that test cases that I'm going to create. This is unnecessary, right? So how can we avoid this? And that's when, instead of writing you writing like this, there is some way you can avoid this. Okay, we will learn how to do it. There is something called as annotation. Okay, so we are telling at the rate test. That's it. On top of a method we are telling at the rate test, it becomes a test case. On top of a method we are telling at the rate data provider, this method becomes a data provider. How these things work. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create something similar to this at the rate test. Okay, let's go here and create a package called as annotations. We're going to create something like that. Okay, so let's go and create another class. Again, guys, this is optional. If you're not going to understand this, please ignore it and move ahead. Okay, it's not going to be a big deal. We have used classes, we have used interface, we have used enum, but this time we are going to use annotation. Okay, let's name it as framework annotation. Okay, so this framework annotation is what I have created. Let's go to um, this test annotation and see what's happening, what's there inside it. Notice I have come here. So this annotation is almost same. So they have some annotation on top of it. That's okay. But if you notice, groups enabled, depends on groups, depends on method, invocation count. Okay, always run. See, these things are priority. Okay, these things are what we are seeing, right? So priority. If you type priority, the default is 0. If you go to the test class, literally int priority, the default is 0. Oh, this is the place where they are defining all this. Okay, if you are using priority, it has to be integer. Okay, if I go and use priority with a string, then it will throw error. Hey, this is a integer type. See, compatible types found string, but I need a int, right? So this is where they are defining all this. Okay, and all of them are having default at the end. Okay, which means it is optional. Okay, if a priority is defined default as 0, that means it is optional. Okay, it means you don't have to use it. It is, if you want you can use it, otherwise I will take a priority of 0. Okay, that's how it is. Now the same way, like, we'll go here. This is something like the signature. If you look closely, this is like a method. Okay, method name, return type, the public void and all we ignored. Just a return type, method name, and then if it is optional, then use default. Okay, if it is optional, use default. Okay, now let's go here, and we have created a framework annotation. Let's loot something from here. Okay, let's copy this and then paste it here. Now, what is the problem? What are these two things? Okay, now when we mean at the rate retention and retention policy as runtime, which means this annotation will be used by reflections to get the values. Okay, we will understand what is reflection, how it is getting value. Now target where you want to apply this. Okay, this can be that applied on top of a method. Here we have applied at the rate test on top of a method. Same way, if you have a class, okay, if you put at the rate test on top of it, okay, you can also do that, which means all the methods inside this particular class will be treated as a test case. Okay, but we are not using it, it is not really needed. Same way, here our method only needs to be used on top of a method. Okay, so we will use only this. If you want an annotation to be used on top of a variable, you can also do that. But in our case, it is okay if you use it on top of a method, because all we are going to do is we are going to assign author, assign category on top of method using an annotation. Okay, now what I'm going to do on top of this, so let's put this in one line. Okay, on top of this I am actually adding framework annotation. Okay, framework annotation is there, but there is nothing inside this. I need to define author name and category. So let's copy that. So if I have to use string, okay, okay, I need to use string. Okay, so let's say, let's go here and let's copy this. So this is a string, right? So this, we'll use the same format here. Okay, I need a string. This is of author. Okay, author, the method. Okay, and then we are telling if you want it to be optional or mandatory. So this is, let's say, let's make it as mandatory. Now if you go to this particular class where you are using this, okay, it will tell add missing annotation author. It is now a mandatory field. You cannot, if you want to use the annotation, you need to define this. So I will tell author is Amar. Okay, and then this is a string type, right? So I need to tell author Amar. Okay, that's it, guys. Now we have defined this here. Now you can use reflection to access this value. Let's say every time you are creating a test case, I will access this and log it into the report. Let's go to the listener. Let's go to the listener. And every time I'm creating a test, okay, I'm also telling uh, extend manager dot extend test. Okay, maybe what I do, I go to the extend report class, and then I will create one more method. Okay, I don't want to use extend manager directly, so I will tell public static void assign author. And then if somebody is passing me string of author name, what I will do, I will tell extend manager dot get test and then dot assign author. Okay, whoever the author name you are passing, I will pass it. That's it. So now if you pass me an author name, I will just assign it to the report. Good. Now let's go to the listener class, and then we'll just tell extend report dot, again guys, this is optional. If you don't understand, that's okay. So now we need to pass the author name. Okay, but this author name has to come from the annotation. So this annotation is here, this annotation. Okay, let's go and try to fetch it. How we are going to fetch it? Result dot, okay, first we want to get the test, right? Get get method. Okay, this method I want to get the test method. If you want the description, you can get it. If you want the method name, you can get it. But now what I want, I need annotation, right? Get annotation, or let's see what else we have. Get method name, get id, get qualified now, get after groups. Okay, we are just checking each and every one. Get instance, get priority, get invocation count. Okay, where is the get annotations? Get add. So here, after getting the method, get constructor or method. Okay, and then here again I need to tell get method. Now after getting the method, I want to get the annotation. What annotation you want to get? Because this test method might have multiple annotation. In our case, it has framework annotation, @test, two annotations. Which annotation you want to get? Okay, that is okay. I want to get framework annotation dot class, right? Okay, after getting the framework annotation, what do you want to do? I want to do get the author. That's it. So now this whole thing will fetch. What it will do, it will go and search for the test method. The test method is home page test. It will find the framework annotation. It will also find the author, and it will also find the value and log it into the external report. Okay, so this will get logged into the report. Let's try to run and check whether this whole thing is working fine. It needs to log who is the author. Okay, okay, and we are more interested in the reports. Let's go and directly open the report. Notice some of them fade. That's okay, but all we want to see is the author name here. Okay, it is getting recorded. Okay, the author name is getting recorded. Okay, and also let's try to see why the first one failed. This has failed and this has failed. Let's go here and then check. This one is assertion failure. That's okay. The payment test, it was null pointer exception because it could not find this annotation. So let's go to the base homepage test. Payment test. We'll also need to annotate this with @framework annotation, and we need to give the author. Who is the author? Let's take it as Sachin. Okay. So now it won't throw that null pointer exception. Okay. Now, instead of making this as a mandatory field, you can also make this as an optional field so that it won't, if people are not using this, it won't throw error because it has now thrown error because the author is not available when it's trying to run the second test case. Okay. So that's why it showed error. So that's why I'll make it as an optional one. Okay. Let's go to the framework annotation and let's keep default. By default, I'll give empty string. Okay. Or can default give some names. Okay, you can give some names. Okay, that's it. And then you can also pass category similar way like this. Okay, so this is more than enough. Now if you want to add something into the report, you can directly use it. Okay, use the annotation. We are okay. Now I don't even have to mention this. Okay, let's go to the framework annotation or go to the test class. I don't even have to mention. Okay, by default it will take Amudan. If somebody else is newly creating, then you can mention their name. Otherwise it will be automatically taken care. Okay, even if you mention, it is not a big deal. Okay, good. So this is how we can use annotation. And let's okay, this is how you can use annotation in Selenium framework. And annotation is very simple. I have also made a very detailed video on my YouTube channel. You can also go ahead and watch it. But since you are all getting started, I just given a taste of annotation. I'm not covered the whole thing in. Okay, but you don't need the whole thing. Okay, to get started. Any other doubts so far?
Muthan, so yes, even I'm not very much clear right now, but yes, I'm skipping it because as alternative we can just add that line in the extent report by creating author. That way we can do as of now, right? Instead of
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
at
You
the
can do that.
annotation.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah,
Yes, yes, because it's it's not that much, no.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's why
I'm
I
just leaving it as of now.
see tomorrow if you suddenly seen someone writing like this. Okay,
Yes,
this should
yes,
not be a jargon to you. It should not be an alien to you. Okay, that's the reason I have explained this. At the time you will think, okay, Amudan have taught this, but I didn't understand at that point of time. So I'll go ahead and
exactly.
create one and try to understand. So these things you will get to understand only when you try it. Okay, write the code yourself and then try it. You will understand. Okay,
Okay,
if you just practice after this class, you will definitely get to understand. Get to know what is this. Okay, don't worry about that.
okay, okay.
Good. And after this, we can also cover a lot of things, but we need to read something from an Excel sheet and we want to drive. Okay, that's the main thing. We'll also do that. And we have to extend our framework to run the test on Docker, because for now we have only the provision to run it on the um, local machines. So we have to do that as well. And that is the only two things that is pending. Apart from that, we have Git and Jenkins integration that will also do. Is there anything else we want me to cover apart from this? Okay, so if not, then we have still 10 more minutes. Just checking whether I can cover that or I can cover it tomorrow. Okay, let's make it this as a pass. And also, if you notice one more thing, if a test is getting failed, that this particular details is not getting reported into the reports, the extent report. So I need to also log that. Let's go to the listener class, and then on each of the test failure, I will not only mark it as failed, but I also want to tell external logger dot fail, and I need to find the method get stack trace or get method dot get. Um, Before this, you also can do one more thing. Okay, currently the reports are basically displaying the test case name. Okay, so if you want the test case name, it is only marking this, but I want this to be in the reports. This to be in the reports. How will I do that? Let's go to the extend the listener again, and here instead of creating test with get name, you can just tell get method dot get description. Okay, and then this will be picked from the description of the test case. Okay, if you mention a description, then you have to go here, and also you need to give description equal to uh, to check something. Okay, whatever the description you want to add, you have to give. If you run the test now, this will be marked into the reports instead of the test name, test2, and all that. Okay, this will be marked. Good. And if you want to get the on test failure, if you want to get the extra stack trace, I need to tell result dot. Hey guys, these methods are something that you cannot memorize. Okay, something like get throwable dot get message. You can use this message and then you can log it. Okay, I can just tell now if a test is getting failed, this message also will be logged. Okay, let's make the test to fail and go here. We'll also see what else we could add. Global.get stack trace. Okay, if you notice, this stack trace is where the whole information is available. Okay? But I want to convert this stack trace to string. So this is an array, right? So there is arrays dot to string. Okay, which will basically convert this whole array into a string. Okay, let's import this, and let's also log it into the external report. Now, if a test is getting failed, all the details will be marked in the report also, not only in the test engine. So let's try to run it. So now the report is now using the description. Okay, that is really cool. Second, whenever it is failed, it is telling it is failed. And then you have what is the expected HRM or not, what is the found, and what is the stack trace, right? So this is what we normally see, right? So we'll see the message itself and then the stack trace. So the message itself and then the stack trace. Okay. So you want to log, you can do this. Okay. If you don't want this, then you can go to this place and comment this and comment this line. Okay. That's how you can basically log all the things that you want to log. Okay. That's all guys. I think I have covered everything. So if you have anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I'll stop the video.